Titans and the Colts. This is a very big game within that division. I don't have to tell you that. The Titans are 3-point dogs to the Colts. Colts, an expensive 3 at DraftKings. This thing could be going to 3.5 at DraftKings. If we take a look at some of the other books out there, an expensive 3 as well at FanDuel, and then over at BetMGM, an expensive 3 on the Colts there too. 51.5 your total. Now this one, another game revolving around injury news and COVID news and things like that. On the Titan side of the ball, AJ Brown, DNP on Wednesday and on Thursday. Of course, we're taping this on Friday morning, so we don't know what the status is for him there, but something very, very big to keep an eye on. And then DeForest Buckner is going to miss this game for the Colts on the COVID list. And so their very best run stopper against a team that has Derrick Henry in the backfield is now going to be out of the question. And so a very interesting kind of chess match here. Brett, I thought I wanted to lean towards the Titans and then the AJ Brown news. And so until I can get some sort of clarity one way or the other on whether he's going to be out there, it's kind of hard for me to pull the trigger here. I will say at least I did have a Titans lean, but I can't go there if he's not going to go, because this team at that point is just a completely different offensive unit.
Yeah, that's a huge loss if he doesn't go. Normally, I would see this as a spot to fade the Titans, who went into Baltimore and beat the most overrated team in football last week. And as a result, this line dropped to 3. I think it was north of 3 on the look ahead last week. But I have a hard time backing this Colts team still, too. After a huge win against Green Bay, they continue to move the ball by dinking and dunking down the field. It seems to work. So, hey, maybe they can continue throwing to Nyheim Hines every game like the Patriots did for a decade and found success that way. But I don't understand why it's working. So this is gonna be a pass for me. I think this line's pretty fair, and I don't know really what to do with either of these teams right now.
Yeah, I mean the DeForest Buckner news wanted to get me on the Titans. It wanted me to say, like, okay, with him out of there, then they're just going to be able to bully with Derrick Henry. But now they're dealing with stuff of their own, and so Brad, it's just it's tough for me to pull the trigger one way or the other right now.
Yeah, that AJ Brown thing would be key. I wonder if the line would move, because if it went to 3.5, if he was announced out, I would probably back the Titans, because I think Corey Davis has been a lot better this year. Obviously, historically, he's been a disappointment, but he has definitely stepped up this year for whatever reason. And I think that DeForest Buckner injury is huge. The first game, the Colts did stop the Titans doing what they wanted to do. I know Henry, I think, had the most rushing yards that the Colts have given up all season, but they did generally stop the run pretty well. And that, if you force Tannehill to drop back without play action and it's just a straight drop back on 2nd and 10, he's nowhere near as effective as otherwise. So we saw last week what the Titans can do if you're missing key players in the middle of your defensive line, when obviously they wore down the Ravens late. And I could see that happening again. And then just numbers wise, this closed Colts -1. So if we just flip that, we get ourselves Titans -3, Colts -3. So it's fair in that sense, but I do think that final score in the first game was misleading. They had equal success rates, 54% each for that game, and obviously the Titans missed a field goal, had a punt blocked, and then had a 20-yard punt as well. So I think there's probably value at the Titans, but we do have to see what happens with AJ Brown.
Yeah. And just as you're, handicapping this game as you head into Sunday, guys, like, I don't think we could understate what a big difference DeForest Buckner not being in that for that offense is. I mean, this is the numbers are going to keep getting spit at you about how good this Colts defense is. And it has been very, very good this year. But if you're somebody who doesn't pay attention to these defensive players enough and only knows kind of like the super big names, imagine if you were looking at a Rams game, but then they said Aaron Donald wasn't going to be out there. Now he's not as good as Aaron Donald, but just trying to put it on a level of what he means to that defense. Like, how you would look at the Rams defense completely different if Aaron Donald wasn't going to be playing. Well, that's how you should also look at this Colts defense without Buckner being out there. He's been that good this year. He's been that disruptive this year. And all the numbers that you get on this Colts defense don't necessarily apply with him on the sideline. So just something to think about as you move on.